but you do not lose your center. This is why Krishna teaches that the Atman is untouched. Because when you remember this, you stop interpreting every hardship as proof you are broken. You begin to see hardship as a passing cloud in a vast sky. The sky remains, the witness remains, the consciousness remains. So the next time life feels unfair, do not ask first, why is this happening to me? Ask softly, what is mine to do now without bitterness? Ask, how can I act with dignity? Ask, how can I release the fruit and keep my peace? Because peace is not found by controlling life. Peace is found by aligning with truth inside life. And as you practice, you will notice something subtle. You become less afraid of unfairness. Because unfairness no longer controls your inner world. You become less afraid of pain because pain no longer means abandonment. You become less afraid of trying your best because your best is no longer a contract with outcomes. It is an offering, and offerings are free. Remain with this understanding, my dear soul. We are moving deeper into the heart of Krishna's discourse, where desire loosens, where the hunger for fairness dissolves, and where the soul learns to stand steady even when the world does not. My dear soul, now we arrive at the place where the mind's complaint becomes most honest. It is not only saying, life is unfair, it is saying, I feel alone inside what is unfair. Because when hardship follows your best effort, you do not only lose an outcome, you lose trust, you lose the feeling that the world makes sense, and the mind, frightened, begins to harden. This hardening is the real danger, not the setback, not the delay, not the loss, the hardening. Because a hardened heart stops listening, it stops loving, it stops offering. It begins to live behind armor. It says, I will never care this much again. As if care itself is the reason you were hurt. But Krishna would tell you gently, the problem is not care. The problem is attachment to what care should produce. Care is pure, attachment is heavy. Care is devotion, attachment is demand. Care is dharma, attachment is ego's bargain. So when you feel punished, what is being wounded is often the bargain, the ego's belief that by being sincere you can purchase a certain reality. And now Krishna offers a deeper lens. Karma is like a knot in a thread. When the knot is pulled to the surface, it can be untied. But the untying can hurt, not because you are wrong, but because the thread is being freed. So when life feels like it punishes you, consider this. Perhaps it is loosening an old knot. Perhaps it is ending a pattern. Perhaps it is clearing a path that your mind cannot see yet. Perhaps it is removing what you are clinging to so you can find what cannot be taken. The mind says, I lost. Krishna says, you are being freed. The mind says, I was rejected. Krishna says, you were redirected. The mind says, this proves I am not enough. Krishna says, this proves you are measuring yourself by the wrong scale, because the wrong scale is outcomes. The right scale is alignment. The wrong scale is reward. The right scale is dharma. The wrong scale is control. The right scale is surrender. And now, my dear soul, let this become your inner practice when life feels unfair. Return to the breath. Return to the witness. Before it looks like freedom. Karma is not a system designed to reward your ego's expectations. Karma is the unfolding of causes in a vast field you cannot fully see. And when you accept this, you stop calling life a punisher and begin to see life as a teacher. Not a teacher that is always gentle, but a teacher that is always precise. And the precision is this: life will repeatedly show you where you are attached, because attachment is where you suffer the most. Life will show you where you are bargaining, because bargaining makes you bitter. Life will show you where you are clinging to fairness as a condition for peace, because peace cannot survive inside conditions. So the wisdom becomes practical, my friend, on this path. When life answers your best with difficulty, do not conclude that you are unseen. Do not conclude that you are cursed. Do not conclude that goodness is foolish. Instead, return to the simple truth. The outcome is not a verdict on your worth. The outcome is not a verdict on your soul. The outcome is a wave in the field of karma. And you are the ocean beneath the wave. So how do you live this daily without turning it into another task for the mind? You live it through small returns. When you feel the sting of unfairness, pause before the mind builds its story. Breathe once, slowly, as if you are giving the nervous system permission to soften. Then separate the event from the interpretation. The event may hurt, but the interpretation is optional. The mind will want to say, "This proves I should stop trying." Instead, let your inner voice say, "This proves I must act with clean hands." He looks at what is in front of him and cannot understand how to move in detachment, not because you do not deserve joy, but because clinging is turning your heart into a battlefield. And here is the tender truth. The mind confuses effort with control. It believes that trying your best should guarantee an outcome. But trying your best is an offering, not a contract. Safe. The delay that forces you to stop running and look inward. The rejection that reveals how much of your worth you placed in the hands of others. The failure that breaks the pride that was quietly exhausting you. The mind says, "This is cruel." Krishna says, "This is transformation." The mind says, "This proves I am not enough." Krishna says, "This proves you are relying on what cannot last." The mind says, "Why is this happening to me?" Krishna says, "What is this shaping in you?" Because the Gita is not primarily a book about avoiding pain. It is a book about becoming free in the midst of pain. It is a book about discovering the Atman that is untouched, even while the surface life shakes. You may not see it yet, but your suffering has been trying to teach you where you are attached, where you are gripping, where you are depending, where you are bargaining. Because attachment is where karma binds you the most. Attachment makes you act from fear and hunger. Attachment makes you build your identity on outcomes. Attachment makes every hardship feel like a verdict. But when you begin to loosen attachment, the same hardship becomes something else. It becomes information. It becomes refinement. It becomes a place where you practice surrender. Simple. Karma is precise, yet vast. It includes what you did yesterday and what was done long before you arrived. It includes your choices, but also the choices of others. It includes your intention, but also the structure of the moment you are living in. Sometimes you are planting seeds in a season where nothing sprouts immediately, and the mind, impatient, calls the soil cruel. Yet Krishna would say, do not mistake delay for rejection. Do not mistake difficulty for punishment. Do not mistake a closed door for the end, because the hidden gift inside unfair outcomes is this. They expose attachment. They expose where you were gripping. They expose where you were building your peace on what can be taken. Look closely, my dear soul. If you try your best and still suffer, what rises first inside you? Is it sorrow, pure and human? Or is it bitterness, the mind saying, after all I did, this should not happen? That bitter voice is the evidence of attachment. It is not evil. It is simply the mind's contract speaking. It is the ego's hidden ledger. I gave this, so life owes me that. And when life does not pay, the mind feels cheated. But Krishna's teaching dissolves the ledger. He does not take away your right to feel pain. He takes away the belief that pain proves you are unseen, because the Atman is never unseen. The Atman is never unloved. The Atman is never punished. Only the surface identity feels punished, because it believed life was supposed to confirm it through outcomes. This is Maya, the illusion that your inner value depends on external results. Muscle that shapes steadiness. Hardship is often the moment the divine removes what you are using as a substitute for faith. The mind says, this is unfair. Krishna says, this is purification. Not because you are dirty, my friend, but because attachment is heavy. Because attachment makes love anxious. Because attachment makes effort exhausting. Because attachment turns life into a constant trial where you must win to feel worthy. So Krishna teaches detachment as a mercy. Detachment means you softens. The mind still hurts, yes, but it stops poisoning the heart. You begin to see hardship not as a verdict, but as a passing season. And in this season, your devotion becomes real. Not devotion as words, but devotion as steadiness. Devotion as trust. Devotion as continuing to walk your path even when the mind cannot explain why the road is hard. Remain with this rhythm, my dear soul. You are not the doer. The fruit was never yours. Peace begins when clinging ends, and from this steadiness, we will move deeper into the freedom Krishna offers. The freedom to act fully, to care deeply, and still remain inwardly unbroken by life's unpredictable waves. My dear soul, let us continue. and let the teaching move from the battlefield of ideas into the battlefield of your everyday life. Because the mind does not suffer only in big tragedies. It suffers in small, unfair moments repeated until the heart feels tired. A message ignored, a promise broken, a job lost after you gave everything, a relationship that ends when you are trying your best to hold it together. The mind takes these moments and says, "This is proof that goodness is useless." But Krishna is not teaching you to become cynical. He is teaching you to become free. And freedom begins when you understand the difference between doing your best and trying to control the world. Doing your best is dharma, trying to control the world is ego. Dharma is clean, ego is hungry. Dharma acts because it is right. Ego acts because it demands a guarantee. So when life feels like it punishes you, what is being hurt is often not your soul, but your ego's expectation. The expectation that life must respond according to your fairness. The expectation that sincerity must be rewarded quickly. The expectation that if you sacrifice enough, you can buy immunity from pain. My friend, on this path, this is the painful illusion, that by being good, you can avoid the human experience. But the Gita does not promise immunity, it promises liberation inside the experience. On the chariot, Krishna does not remove Arjuna's battlefield. He changes Arjuna's relationship to it. The battlefield remains, the uncertainty remains, the weight remains. But a deeper steadiness appears because Arjuna begins to act from truth rather than fear. This is what Krishna offers you when life feels unfair, a way to stop letting unfairness poison your inner life. Because unfairness will happen, people will misunderstand you, systems will fail, timing will hurt, your effort will sometimes be met with silence. That is part of the changing world. But bitterness does not have to be part of you. Bitterness is a second suffering. Bitterness is the mind replaying the event and adding venom. Bitterness is the mind saying, "This should not have happened," again and again. And the mind thinks this replay is protection. It thinks, if I analyze enough, if I resent enough, I will prevent pain in the future. But resentment does not prevent pain, it only extends